Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, everyone. Thank you for joining this webinar. Let's just give a few minutes as people start logging in or joining in. I see we have around 23 participants. Thank you again. Just let's wait a little bit more, like 1 to 2 minutes.
Can you see me?
Yes, I can see you, Dr. Lawal.
You can see my share screen?
Yes, Dr. Lawal.
So let's do this.
Okay, I think we should start because we're a bit over
Yes, Dennis, you may.
time. Okay. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, ladies and gentlemen, esteemed panelists, and thank you for joining us for this EVAL SDG high-level political forum side event. So let me welcome you. So I'm honored and to welcome you for this important side event about reinforcing the 2030 agenda and eradicating poverty in time of multiple crises. The effective delivery of sustainable, resilient, and innovative solutions. This is the theme of the high-level political forum. As we navigate through this unprecedented challenge, the importance of innovation, and resilient evaluation practice cannot be overstated, as well as the role of evaluation in our journey towards sustainable development. National evaluation systems are pivotal in supporting the Sustainable Development Goals and forthcoming Pact for the Future. They provide the necessary evidence to drive accountability, inform policy decision, and share good practices across development partners. They also contribute to a learning journey, navigating through complexity and challenge posed by sustainable development. By entering a rigorous, resilient, and adaptive evaluation system, we can better navigate current challenges and accelerate progress toward SDGs. They also help build trust toward public institutions and public governance, contributing to greater social cohesion. Today, we will showcase successful evaluation practice from countries like Nigeria, Ecuador, Yemen, and Costa Rica. These nations have made significant strides in advancing key sustainable development goals through innovative data collection method and partnership and evaluation system. We will also discuss the challenge, strategy, and solution for implementing evaluation systems during this time of crisis. We will also explore collaboration between various sectors, government, development partner, and government entity. And finally, we will look at forward-looking solutions to enhance evaluation system practice, supporting the upcoming Pact for the Future. So let's embark in this journey together, learning from each other and working together. So I want to introduce you our 4 panelists today. The first one from Ecuador is Madame Jocelyn Michelle Corrales Valle-Yo. I'm sorry if I mispronounced. She has led various roles related to national sector, external planning, and public policies. She's recognized as a leadership in participatory process as mechanism for feedback and evaluation of public policies, adept in handling participatory methodologies, among other skills. Her publication include the socioeconomic evaluation of COVID-19 in Ecuador and the Guide for Public Policy Evaluation. Additionally, she has conducted further studies in evaluation advanced office tools, comprehensive command and management indicator, public policy evaluation, and ethics. Currently, she leads the Undersecretariat for Evaluation at National Planning Secretariat and is spearheading the first participatory evaluation with SDG focus in Ecuador. Our second panelist from Costa Rica is Madame Carolina Zuniga Zamora, Costa Rican sociologist with a master program in evaluation of program and project at the University of Costa Rica. 8 years of experience in research field in social science and 10 years experience in managing and performing evaluation for the Academy, the German International Corporation, Costa Rican Public Sector as an independent consultant. Currently, she serves as an evaluator analyst for the Ministry of National Planning and Economic Policy in the Evaluation Unit, a department in charge of managing national evaluation agenda and monitoring national evaluation policy. Next panelist is Mr. Nashwan Ahmed from Yemen, the Republic of Yemen. Nashwan Ahmed is the CEO of Eval Yemen Organization, a VUP, recently a regional evaluation expert for Yemen and the Horn of Africa at UNODC. Prior to this, an evaluation expert to Yemen's Support Fund in the Foreign Commonwealth and Development Office, FCDO, and Save the Children, Relief International, and other NGO. Nashwan has over 7 years of experience in evaluation with humanitarian development and peace context, with a focus on enhancing the professionalization of monitoring and evaluation in Yemen and in the MENA region. He holds a master's degree in project management from the University of Malaya. Our last but not least panelist from the Federal Republic of Nigeria is Dr. Lawal Zakaria. He's a seasoned professional with a PhD in agricultural economics from Ahmadu Bello University in Nigeria. More than 25 years of experience, including rural development management, development planning, monitoring, and innovation in both public and private sector. He has worked with the United Nations Agency, International Fund for Agricultural Development, and the World Bank. He served as the Director of Planning National Commission under the Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget, and National Planning. Notably, he pioneered the establishment of the National Monitoring and Innovation Department in the same ministry, where he served as a director for 13 years. His role is coordinating implementation of Nigerian National M&E framework, aiming to ensuring accountability at the federal government, public sector investment, and generating learning through evaluation of government policies, plan, program, and projects. He also spearheaded the formulation and coordination of the first Nigeria National Monitoring and Innovation Policy, which was approved, adopted in 2022. So, ladies and gentlemen, over to you, and I would like to welcome our first panelist from Costa Rica, Madame Carolina. Over to you.
Thank you very much, Dennis. And thank you very much for the invitation. It's really a pleasure for me to share a little bit of the experience that we have in Costa Rica regarding our national evaluation system and some of the good practices that we had with the SDG evaluations. So to start, I would like to give you a little bit of the insight regarding the context of the national evaluation system in Costa Rica. And well, the first thing that I have to say is that in Costa Rica, we have a very strong regulatory framework for evaluation. We have regulation, as you can see on the screen in the image. We have regulation at different levels. And for example, one of the most important one is the constitutions. For example, in the Article 11 of the Constitution, there's a special highlight for the importance of performing evaluation in the public sector. So this is something very important for us because from there we use it to elaborate different decrees, different guidelines, and some other important regulatory information. And regarding laws, the most important one is the planning law, because it mandates the MIDE plan has to lead and coordinate the national evaluation system. And our institution, the Ministry of Planning and Economic Policy, is the steering institution in Costa Rica for the public sector regarding not only planning, but also evaluation. And if we take a look at the most important milestones regarding our national evaluation systems, we can see that we had a master program in evaluation since 1993. This means that we have been graduating professionals in evaluation for over 20 years. We have in 1994 the establishment of the National Evaluation System, and along with the Monitoring and Evaluation Department, the one that I work in. And if you can see the next two milestones, there's one in 2010, referring to the reconfiguration of the National Evaluation System, and also the first evaluation in 2013. If you can see, it's over 15 years performing only monitoring in the framework of the National Evaluation System. This is something to think of, because we spend pretty much 15 years only monitoring indicators, only monitoring national goals of the National Development Plan. So in 2010, and thanks to the German cooperation, we start thinking, okay, we're not performing evaluation, how we can move forward to have that capacities inside the public sector. If we talk about the key planning instruments in evaluation, I have to mention the National Development Plan, which is the country's priorities during a specific government period. And inside this National Development Plan, we had, since 2014, a National Evaluation Agenda, meaning that we choose different intervention, different policies, program, projects of the priorities of the government, and we decide to perform an evaluation. It can be of any kind. It can be evaluation including results and design. It can be only a design evaluation and so on. But since 2014, we have these instruments that allow us to evaluate the results of the different intervention in the public sector. And since 2018, we have a national evaluation policy that promotes the training of evaluation capacity among the public sector. And this is very important because previous in 2017, we had also developed a set of methodological instruments that allow us to structure the evaluation process for the public intervention. And I mentioned this because we also work together with different institutions, from the academia, from the civil society, because we have a national platform in evaluation, which is in charge of the different responsibilities included in the national evaluation policy. So this is pretty much pretty quick systematization of how we work inside our national evaluation system. And knowing all of this, I will also like to share some of the good practices in evaluation. We can call it a successful evaluation system practices, which is one of the topics of today's session. And we have some really good practices, and I want to share those related with the SDG approach in our evaluations inside the National Evaluation Agenda. And first, I would like to mention that we had our first experience during the COVID pandemic with a thematic evaluation of the non-reimbursable international cooperation in biodiversity and climate change. It was our first experience evaluating a team. It's the first time that we had a thematic evaluation. It was also the first experience getting close to the SDG approach in an evaluation of the agenda. What we did in this case is that we include the 2030 agenda principles. They were integrated throughout the whole evaluation process, some in the matrix, some regarding the process and doing a participative approach, including also very specific topics regarding equity, environmental sustainability, participation. We also identify some alignment with the biodiversity and climate change and the contribution to some of the SDGs of the 2030 agenda. And one of the lessons learned of performing this first evaluation regarding the SDGs approach is that we needed to perform a more robust, let's say, evaluation that give us more information on how public intervention can better contribute to the SDGs. So in the next National Development Plan, we identified that we wanted to evaluate the national strategy of biodiversity. We perform a result evaluation with a very specific SDG approach. And in this case, what we did was use this guide. I'm sorry, we used this guide. It was a very good opportunity, a very helpful opportunity to understand some of the key points regarding the SDGs approach, regarding how to formulate questions using this approach, regarding how to convert the principles into a specific criteria for the evaluation. So if I talk specifically of what we did, in this case, we use the principles of the 2030 agenda as evaluation criteria, along with some other OCDE criteria. In this case, we use the mutual accountability and also equity. We included environmental sustainability as a transversal way to get results on how this specific national strategy was contributing to the lesson of the biodiversity across the country. And another thing that we do in this evaluation was including very specific evaluation questions about the contribution of this intervention to fulfilling the SDGs, specifically the 14 and the 15, the two that were more related with the national evaluation strategy. We also did have a high level of participation. We validate some of the findings, and we also build the recommendation with different stakeholders of the environmental sector. And this is something very important because it gives us the opportunity for them to actually have better receiving the results of the evaluation. And last but not least, we also make a highlighting of the importance of using the results. In this case, it was especially important because this national biodiversity strategy is going to be is going to have an updating next year, because it's what it mandates during the Common Montreal Agreement that it was in 2023 in Canada. 2022, I think. I'm sorry. In Canada, saying that pretty much all of the countries have to have a national strategy of biodiversity. If they have it already, they have to actualize it with the new goals of the Common Montreal Agreement. So using this evaluation, using the results regarding the SDGs and how we contribute and which were the gaps that we need to work on in the next strategy is some of the things that were very important for us to start this start actualizing the biodiversity strategy. So hopefully we can use the results very soon. And to finish with my presentation, I would like to share some of the lessons learned that we had by implementing this kind of evaluation, by using the 2030 agenda and the SDG approach in the evaluation of the national evaluation agenda. And first, I will say that complying with the SDG requires to guarantee that the institution designs policies considering the 2030 agenda. And In this case, this includes improving planning and strategy for public interventions. In this case, we can have better formulation probably in the future, and being clear enough about how the outcomes are good enough to achieve the sustainable development. We also must foster advisory to institutions and stakeholders from different sectors in order to improve the information available. We identified that in order to perform this kind of evaluation, we had in different institutions a gap regarding the data available. So in this case, we have to work very close with the institution and also with some other strategies cross-country, saying that we need to generate more and more data, but with a very quality in this case to have a very understanding on how we are moving forward the 2030 agenda and the SDGs. We have also to rethink our processes from participation and equity, trying to include different stakeholders from different sectors in evaluation. It's a key point for a better use of these kind of processes. So it's something that we need to continue doing in the future in any kind of evaluation. We also have to use the inputs for the voluntary national reports. Costa Rica is going to present the third national report in the second semester of this year, and we want to do it differently. In the past national report, we didn't include pretty much any information regarding evaluation, but right now we have some very good inputs that we can show on how we are moving forward. And last but not least is the contribution to the global learning. We are very convinced, and working specifically with the international cooperation with the German cooperation in this case, that we have some information that we can contribute to the global learning. We can share our experience, we can share what we did good, what we did wrong, what it works and what didn't, in order for some other countries can also learn from our little country regarding the space, but since that we do some very good things, it's probably a better lessons learned from some other countries that want to start doing this kind of examples or processes. And well, thank you very much. This is what I want to share for today. Let me see if I can.
Thank you, my dear Carolina. If you can stop sharing, that's good. And over to Mr. Nashwan from Ahmed from the Republic of Yemen, please.
Welcome, guys. It is my pleasure today to talk with you about the resilient evaluation system in Yemen, advancing the Sustainable Development Goals amidst multiple crises. So our driving questions will be about how can evaluation systems in Yemen be strengthened to advance the Sustainable Development Goals despite ongoing crises and conflict. Another driving question is, what role does Eval Yemen play in ensuring sustainable and innovative solutions in such fragile contexts? My presentation content will be about showcase successful evaluation system practices in the beginning steps, of course, and facilitate knowledge collection, sharing for leveraging partnerships, and exploring forward-looking solutions. Short introduce about Yemen for those who don't know about Yemen. The population approximately 30 million. The socioeconomic indicators showed that our GDP per capita is 500 USD, one of the lowest in the world. Our HDI is low, indicating significant challenges in health, education, and so on. And we have high levels of poverty and unemployment, especially among youth. So as you can see, Yemen is in the corner of the Red Sea and the Gulf of Aden. Our evaluation context is suffering from ongoing conflict, limited access, data scarcity, and institutional challenges. Eval Yemen was established indeed at 2018. As in the meantime, Eval Yemen is a voluntary organization for professional evaluation that aims to enhance the professionalism of evaluation in Yemen in voluntary way. Eval Yemen is a member of the Eval SDGs and member of the International Organization for Cooperation and Evaluation and board member of Eval MENA. Our vision is to create a prosperous and sustainable future for Yemen through evidence-based evaluation. Accordingly, our mission to empower individuals and organizations to conduct regular evaluations and use findings to inform policies and programs. Let us start some of our showcases of success in how our first step to establishing the evaluation system in the national-wide. So in the meantime, Eval Yemen succeed in establishing a nationwide evaluation network. This practice contributes to the sustainable SDG 17 partnerships for the goals by creating a platform for collaboration and knowledge sharing among evaluation professionals. Another success showcase is collaboration with government, NGOs, private sector. So with the public sector cooperation, we engaged with 7 state entities, developing evaluation plans for 3 state entities and supporting SDG 16, strengthens the institutional capacity. For the civil society support, we assisted 22 organizations, conducted 12 trainings, 6 advocacy campaigns in the way to strengthen the SDG 17 and other relevant SDGs. With the private sector engagement, we have worked with 8 companies, delivered 4 employee training courses, contributes to SDG 8, which is enhances private sector evaluation capacity. Another showcase example is young and emerging evaluators programs and context adoption. In Eval Yemen, we believe that we need to link between the experienced evaluators and the coming generation of evaluators. In this way, that we can sustain our project and enhance the professionalism of evaluation in Yemen. So in our youth program, we have engaged and built capacity in some areas of evaluation for more than 100 young and emerging evaluators, conducted 6 specialized training courses supporting in the SDG 4s to build youth professional capacities. In terms of context adoptions, in our works, we have ensured to modified practices for conflict-affected areas. Demonstrated resilience in challenges environments contributes to SDG 16 maintains evaluation in fragile contexts. In terms of knowledge collection, we have established a platform for share knowledge and discussing challenges and solutions. In this platform, Eval Yemen include all our members that our member is about 370 members. All those can access to our platform, can access to information that related to evaluation, practice, tools, and so on. And we can discuss challenges and solutions. Additionally, we have focusing on implementing evaluation system during crisis and conflict in Yemen, in cooperation with the public sector and NGOs. And just in the first steps, as you know, if I am not mistaken, the last reporting about sustainable development goals in Yemen was in 2020. So we have just recap, but is ongoing and building the capacities from such entities in ongoing style to ensure that we can get interact again. So forward-looking solutions, including adoption of new technologies, just as Yemen developed our strategy, Gen AI strategy for Yemen, which include context-specific Gen AI evaluation framework integrating conflict-sensitive and peace-building considerations. It includes data justice initiatives promoting equitable data governance and community-led data leadership, inclusive capacity building program with tailored training on Gen AI ethics and governance for diverse stakeholders, and dynamic strategy implementation using an interactive online platform and dedicated community of practice, and so on. Continued adoption of new approaches via engaging and capacity building of young and emerging evaluators for various public NGOs private sector in Sustainable Development Goals evaluation in Yemen. In this mechanism, we have a joint strategy plan which was produced in collaboration between EBAL Yemen and EBAL Youth Yemen chapter and some public sector entities, which indicates the following: needs assessment, tailored curriculum, multifaceted training, mentorship programs, internship like practical experience opportunities with organizations and agencies, and resource sharing platform, recognition and networking, such awards for outstanding use and networking opportunities, and offshore continuous evaluation, such regional evaluation of capacity building initiatives. And then collaborative implementation, such partnership between EBAL Yemen government agencies and local partners that will ensure that we can achieve we can enhance our efforts in supporting the sustainable development goals practices in Yemen step by step, because in the meantime, if I'm not mistaken, Yemen is back about 50 years to achieve the sustainable development goals by 2030. So this is such efforts from EBAL Yemen as voluntary organization for professional evaluation that can work toward accelerate such practices and solutions in the short time. So in the end, full thanks for EBAL Yemen voluntary efforts on resilience evaluation systems in Yemen, and thank you. Over to you.
Thank you, Dean Ashwan, for sharing your experience.
You as well.
So we have picked up some questions. Do ask your question in the chat, please. We have picked up some questions. We're gonna have a Q&A session after the panelists. I think it would be better. So our next panelist is from the Republic of Ecuador. Is Jocelyn, please, over to you. I think you're on mute. Are you?
Good morning, everyone. It is an honor to be here today representing my beloved country on this STEAM panel. Before we dive into our discussions, I would like to share a short video that will give you a glimpse of the beauty, diversity, and vibrant culture of Ecuador.
Ecuador, located in the center of the world, is a country of astonishing diversity and natural wealth. With its 4 natural regions, the paradisiacal beaches, and its marine biodiversity stand out, as well the majestic Andes, where the heart of our cultural identity is located. The Amazon, with its richness and variety of flora and fauna, remind us of the importance of responsible planning for sustainable development. The Galapagos Island, a natural heritage of humanity, are a living example of conservation and biodiversity that should not be neglected. Every corner of Ecuador has something special to offer. Ecuador moves forward with joy and responsibility to show the world the beauty of a hospitable country, that is expressed in the generosity of its natural resources, the plurality of its tradition, and the resilience of its people. Ecuador has four regions, one heart, with the principle leave no one behind, framed in the SDG evaluation and participatory evaluation.
I hope you like it, and I invite you to learn more about my beautiful country. Briefly, I would like to tell you a little more about my country. Ecuador is located in South America, right on the equator, which gives it a unique diversity of flora and fauna. With population of the 18 million Ecuadorian spreads across 283,000 square kilometers. Our official language is Spanish, so I apologize for any shortcoming in my English. The colors that represent us are yellow, blue, and red, as is seen in our flags and national coat of arms, with the Indian condor standing as a symbol of energy and effort. Our country is pluricultural and multi-ethnic, with 15 indigenous nationalities and a similar number of Quichua-speaking subgroups. Despite being small in territory, Ecuador proudly boasts the title of having the greatest natural diversity per square kilometer on the planet. We have 4 worlds of diversity: the Amazon rainforest, known as the lungs of the world, the coast, which is a beach bordered by the Pacific Ocean, the Inter-Andean region crossed by the Andes Mountain, and the Galapagos Island, declare a natural heritage of humanity for their unique fauna and flora. Additionally, Ecuador is a leading exporter of some of the best flowers and cocoa in the world. Having shared with you where I come from, I want to tell you that in recent years, Ecuador has embraced resilience, facing various crises such as COVID-19 and changing government due to early elections and social crises, including security issues. Nevertheless, Ecuador has persevered in institutionalizing evaluation process, which is initially were perceived simply as audit or oversight. However, strategic partnership has proven crucial in fostering a culture of evaluation. Collaboration with international partners like DEVAL through their FOSILAC Plus project has supported us in 2 key areas: enhancing the technical capacities of officials at the National Planning Secretariat and conducting a propository evaluation with an SDG focus, which I will elaborate on shortly. Despite political change, Ecuador has managed to proceed with these 2 evaluations, which were conducted for the first time in our country. It is important to mention that the United Nations General Assembly underscores the significance of conducting evaluation with a focus on the Sustainable Development Goals, led by countries, and reinforcing the voluntary national review through the resolution issued in 2023. Seeking to innovate, Ecuador accepts the challenge of leading an SDG-focused evaluation, while all evaluation executed thus far aligns with certain SDGs. Conducting an evaluation specifically with the SDG focus in a distinct endeavor and it featured in a specific section on the voluntary national review. During this panel, I will present the case of the SDG focus evaluation on childhood chronic malnutrition. It's noteworthy that among countries in the region, Ecuador is the 3rd country to undertake this type of evaluation, following by Colombia and Costa Rica. For Ecuador, conducting the first assessment focused on the Sustainable Development Goals holds significant importance, make a pioneer effort among early country-led evaluation. This initiative allows us to observe how the 2030 agenda is integrated into objective methodologies and evaluation tools. Such assessment not only embed SDG principles, but also serve as a crucial platform for collective learning, fostering knowledge generation and capacity building around the 2030 agenda with diverse stakeholders. In the end, these country-led evaluations aligned with 2030 agenda are essential for sustainable development. They promote more inclusive and collaborative public intervention, paving the way for sustainable, resilient, and innovative solutions. I would like to shed light on the SDG-focused evaluation currently underway in Ecuador, specifically addressing child chronic malnutrition. CCM is an urgent cross-sectoral issue of social concern, primarily affecting those living in poverty and extreme poverty. In the medium term, it restricts educational opportunities and increases morbidity. In the long term, it hinders access to employment and impacts future work performance. CCM is both a social issue as a public health concern, with the developed countries bearing the brunt of this impact. Unfortunately, Ecuador holds the second highest rate of children chronic malnutrition in America Latina, making it a significant public health priority over the past decade. It is important to note that CCM disproportionately affects rural areas and indigenous communities, rendering the most vulnerable populations. In response, Ecuador has launched the national strategy, Ecuador Grows Without Childhood Malnutrition, aimed at preventing and reducing CCM. Ecuador focused on evaluating CCM, underscore our commitment to improving the quality of life of our children, who represent the future of our nations. Through this effort, we aim to address these critical issues and ensure a healthier, more prosperous future of all Ecuadorians. CCM remains a serious issue affecting 20% of children under the age of 2 in Ecuador. Therefore, the focus of our evaluation is assessing the intersectoral coordination structures defined around the implementation of the intersectoral strategic plan for the prevention and reduction of CCM. This evaluation will analyze 3 national level structures and 2 local level structures. This evaluation directly contributes to SDG 2, but is also impact 8 other SDG. The integration of the 2030 agenda into the evaluation criteria is reflected in the principles of the 2030 agenda as evaluation criteria, specifically share responsibility and leave no one behind. Principles and SDG reflected in a specific question covering relevant sustainability and effectiveness in the evaluation. Coherence, also not directly linked to the 2030 agenda, is also included in the evaluation. Following the principles of the 2030 agenda, particularly leave no one behind, this evaluation has engaged various stakeholders from government institutions, civil society, academia, and Ecuadorian youth representatives across different territory levels. In this context, 5 specific objectives are proposed framing in identified areas for improvement in the intersectoral coordination and sustained strategies to institutionalize a public policy aimed at eradicate malnutrition through territorial collaboration. Furthermore, the objective aims to extract lessons and best practice for decentralized governance in Ecuador, aligns with the principles of the 2030 agenda. The evaluation of intersectoral articulation around chronic child malnutrition from the perspective of 2030 agenda has certain characteristics that adjust to the peculiarities of the complex and innovation of this process. A highly complex evaluation, since it involves great efforts of the interinstitutional and multi-actor coordination, in which information was collected from various sources and more than 1,000 people were interviewed. Quality and quantity information was collected with a territorial perspective. Furthermore, also it is led by the National Planning Secretary. It is implemented by the International Evaluation Team. I am pleased to share some insight into the ongoing evaluation process. We are fostering a shared learning process between government stakeholders and the evaluation teams. The approach and methodology of this pioneering evaluation have the potential to enrich the international discourse on conducting assessment aligned with the 2030 agenda. First, this evaluation will expect the understanding of 2030 agenda principles for effective public policy implementation. It serves as a foundation to enhance the role of local actors and promote community empowerment. And finally, moreover, incentivize collaborations among various actors for both central and local governments. Thank you.
Thank you, Jocelyn, and I love the video. That was very interesting. So thank you. And I would like to hand over to our last panelist before we open for the question, Dr. Zakari Lawan from the Republic of Nigeria. Am I the one sharing? Zakari, or you can share? Yeah, okay. Great, thank you.
Well, good afternoon. Also standing system and to present Nigeria's experience in international partnerships.
Dr. Lawal, could you put in the presentation mode or the slide view?
Okay.
The slideshow view, please. Thank you.
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you.
So the essence of my presentation is to share our experience on regional partnerships and collaborations to strengthen implementation and evaluation of the SDGs. And this is in line with enforcing the 2030 agenda eradicating crisis, effective delivery of sustainable resilient and solutions. So the content of my presentation will look as shown on the screen, which should be able for Nigeria to see so that we can understand the context. Then what we consider as challenges to evaluation of SDGs in Nigeria, and how we leverage partnership and collaboration strategies to undertake two country-wide SDG evaluations, and how the two evaluation findings are being utilized to strengthen the execution of SDGs in Nigeria. So Nigeria, as you are aware, is a populous country and one of the largest economies in Africa. The current population of Nigeria stands at about 229 million. And this is based on the projection United Nations data in 2024. It has a GDP of currently about 252 million in 2024, and a GDP per capita of $1,109. growth rate of the economy is 3.1%. In Nigeria, basically, we practice what we call the federal system. It's a three-tier federal structure consisting of federal, state, and local governments. The country has 36 states, the federal capital territory, and 774 local governments. So the Nigerian Federation, each tier of government has its own executive branch, including its bureaucracy, its own legislature and judiciary, and each branch operates relatively autonomously. So Nigeria's federal structure gives autonomy to states, and the logic of the constitutional distribution of power and responsibility is essentially to build a strong federation. So some of the things that we consider as challenges to evaluation in the country, including the weak political structure in executive policy evaluations due to low appreciation, value addition of evaluation findings to decision making. Well, this is obvious because often, in developing countries, evaluations are not highly appreciated because governance is often not driving by political influences. So that undermines internalizing policy evaluations. And often there are inadequate budgetary provisions and financial resources for country-wide evaluation because of size and federal government structure. As you can see, the country is very wide, it's large, and for any evaluation to make any effect, it has to have a separate balance so that when decisions are being taken country-wide, and often for this kind of evaluation, budget and funding are very challenge. And currently, we also have a multiplicity of SDG implementing agencies. And often, with poor synergy, because often in government, people jealously guided with their mandates and often focus on silo delivery. So coordination and rivalry between agencies within the government is always a challenge. To evaluations, especially conducting country-wide evaluations. So you have to bring stakeholders together, reach a consensus and agreement, both at the national and subnational level, even other methodology and things. So that's a big challenge. And also issue of technical capacities and expertise, kind of country-wide evaluation. This has also been a challenge. Because rigorous evaluation usually technical capacity, expertise, and especially evaluation society. It's complex and holistic agencies. It becomes a challenges, and that is also issues. And the issue of poor data is data management analysis. It is also part of the challenges. So part of what we did to overcome some of these challenges in order to successfully
because I carried we can't hear you well. Maybe I can share for you and maybe it will reduce the bandwidth.
Okay. So let me can you hear me now?
Yes, now I can hear you very well.
Okay, so as I was saying, part of the challenges that we had, I mentioned, in the last slide, and part of what we did, to overcome these challenges, of the complexity of the country, the complexity of the stakeholders, the issue, of funding and what have you, is to kickstart the process by creating an interagency technical working for SDGs evaluation. And this comprises of experts, from WhatsApp SDGs, Also, the office responsible for implementation of SDGs in Nigeria, and it's under the office of Mr. President. And we also, brought within that technical working group, the Directorate for Monitoring and Evaluation, Federal Ministry of Finance, Budget and National Planning. We also mainstream Office of Evaluation Manager of UNICEF, resident in the country. And then because the evaluation are focusing more, on education and health, brought in, the Ministry of Education and the Ministry of Health. And then we may also brought in the National Bureau of Statistics because of the data issues. And then the National Association of Advocates, which is, an organization of experts, in evaluation of the country. And then going forward, we undertook a high-level, stakeholder workshops for strategic thinking and capacity building for SDG evaluations. And these workshops, are conducted to harvest political will and conduct a rigorous prioritization of areas of SDG evaluation designed by the country using an objective transparent criteria. Because as I said earlier, we have issue of politics, we have issue of silo mentality. So one thing that we did, is to bring all the stakeholders to prioritize, based, on transparent criteria of which area should be really focus our evaluation. And we all use reach a consensus based, on the priority ranking that we should go for evaluation, health, and education. And then to overcome the issue of funding, what we did was because of the quantum of resources that were involved, we discussed with UNICEF and also SDGs to co-fund, the two evaluations. Because the amount, is enormous and is needed for it. So that technical working, developed a terms of reference for selection of consultants to be international competitive bidding. And we selected two competent firms, one from UK and one from USA, to undertake the evaluation and to bridge the evaluation technical capacity gap. And what we also did, was to ensure that there is a strong collaboration with the local experts from Nigeria to work with these foreign firms. And the technical working was also provided support and technical backstory and advisory support. And then the other strategy that we use is to ensure high-level ownership. To ensure high-level ownership, with evaluation reports, we brought that these reports, before the ministers that are involved, the Federal Minister of Education, Federal Minister of Health, Federal Minister of Finance, Budget and National Planning, Senior Special Assistant to the President, Development Goals, and Country Director UNICEF to all co-sign, on the reports. And this is to ensure that they have ownership and agreement that the content of the evaluation is something that is owned by them and can be used for policy decision making in their respective sectors. So going forward, what we did was also conduct a higher level launch of two evaluation reports by the Vice Presidency of Nigeria. It's all the ministers, it's all the commissioners from states, the international development partners, MDS, government and civil society attendants to present, the two. So we found, this strategy, very useful, and how, an example of how partnership, can work between the federal, the states, between development partners and civil society organizations together evaluation. We found it very useful. And coincidentally, that evaluation of the SDG 3 and 4, in the first, evaluation of SDG that was carried out by any country from the global south. So it is the first report that we have presented to us. And part of what the evaluation contributed, which also leveraged severally on the partnership and the collaboration spirit, was that the findings of the evaluation are being used now by the SDG office of the country as an advocacy to the relevant national levels. to support mainstreaming and strengthening of federal and state education and health sector strategies. Because as I said earlier, we ensure that the whole process was participatory, there is proper ownership. So now those findings are now being used by them to engage the states to see how they can utilize the findings of this evaluation to strengthen the education and health sectors strategies. And the reports also were able to provide data and evidence to support development actors, both from government, the government partners, private sector, intervention, education, and health sectors. Because there are multiple stakeholders working in these areas. These reports added value in providing data and evidence to support a lot of work. And that we found visiting. And after launching of this evaluation, one thing that was not happening that the government of Nigeria was to increase education finance by 50%. And also enacted a national budget bill 2022 that increased the federal budget allocation to education from 0% to 7%. And what we also did going forward was to ensure that the interagency technical working group, SDGs, that was established is being liberated now to commence the process of evaluation of other SDGs, particularly SDG 1 and SDG 2. And we intend to use the same process as we did for evaluation of SDG 3. So basically, this is a capacity building workshop and sustainable development goal that we undertook at the beginning of the process, where we bring all stakeholders, from the government, from the UNICEF, and from other development partners. The first of all, undertake this capacity building workshop, so that we'll all be on the same level, some level understanding. And it is at this workshop that we agree on the prioritization, develop the criteria, and make the selection of the area that we intend to impact. Because SDG is a very robust program, and unless there is a consensus of which area to evaluate, challenges in terms of implementation. So this picture also depicts the launching of the high-level launching of the SDG reports, where we had stakeholders, government partners, the UNICEF, the World Bank, the EU, the states, the civil society organization, and a lot of stakeholders. So this picture is picture that particular. And these are the two evaluations that, as I have said, these are the first SDG evaluation that were taken by any country. That is so basically the issue of partnership and collaboration is really very key for the streaming of evaluation of SDGs by any country. I feel that this process was assisted and made mainstreaming evaluation into SDG processes in Nigeria successful. I rest my case. Thank you very much. So Denis are done. Hello.
You have to stop sharing. Thank you. You have to stop sharing.
Okay.
So thank you for the 4 panelists and the participants. So I think we can now open to the Q&As. I have questions. I've picked up 2 questions so far. Help me, but put your question in the chat.
Dennis, the questions are posted in the Q&A tab. There's quite a few there if you click the Q&A.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, I've picked up 2 before that, I've picked up 2 before that in the chat. It was from Amélie Ellenberg. Question to Joseline. Very interesting that you defined the evaluation you want to conduct already at the stage of national development planning. Could you say something about the selection criteria? This is from Amélie and my friend Justus. Impressive. Thanks for sharing how the evaluation system take times to mature. What happened in the year before the first evaluation was conducted could actually be where the lesson learned for a sustainable evaluation system lie. I think this was for the first 2 presentation, if I'm correct. Let me start with this 2 questions. Do I need to repeat? I can put them in the chat again. Jocelyn, yeah.
I think that one regarding the criteria, the selection criteria is for me.
I'm sorry. Yeah, okay,
Yeah.
correct.
Well, I put some information in there, but in our case, we have a few criteria to select which interventions are going to be part of the national evaluation agenda. And with every new government, we review those criteria to make sure that we can include like some lessons learned from the past. For example, last year we have to remove one that was not doing anything as not very much it was not giving us very much information on how to select a specific intervention. So I put those, the ones that are right now using for the methodology to selecting the intervention, the alignment with the SDGs, the how much of the budget they have of the national budget, the identification of some evaluability elements. For us, this is very important to make sure that they have some basic elements. This doesn't mean that if it doesn't have any data, we don't perform the evaluation. It means that for us, it's very important to know that some information is there in case they, for example, they want a result evaluation or an SDG evaluation, for example, with the National Strategy of Biodiversity. The maturity of the intervention, if they want a result evaluation, we cannot um, perform it at a very new intervention. This is like very quickly the overview for the response to the question.
Okay. I invite you to look at the chat as well. Everybody can have access. Dr. Olaruwanju, for Carolina, again, what are some of the challenge?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. I didn't want it to respond in the chat. Yes, I think that listening to Dr. Lawal, there's some challenges that we share regarding the implementation of the SDG evaluation. For example, and I mentioned it also in my presentation, is the availability of the data. Especially if we want to know how a specific intervention or how a specific topic of the country is contributing to fulfilling an SDG, or which one is the part or the role of that intervention in achieving a specific SDG at a national level. So this is something that we need to work on as a country, because, for example, in this intervention, it was able to do it with two SDGs, but if we wanted some other, it was not important information that we can use. So this is something that we need to work on. The commitment, this is something very important. The commitment throughout the whole process of the different institutions that are involved in the evaluation is very important for them to know how time consuming this will be, the responsibility that they have to take throughout the whole process. Also, something that it was very important, it was told to us since the beginning when we had some kind of training for implementing this evaluation, is the participation of different stakeholders throughout the whole process, gathering the different stakeholders from different sectors, but involved in the strategy. This was very difficult, very time consuming, trying for them to get the interest in participating in the evaluation. At the end, it worked very well, but throughout the process, it was different. It was very difficult to gather them together to work on the different products of the evaluation and getting the inputs from them from their own experience. Those are like some of the challenges.
Thank you. I've monitored some of the questions that have been answered in the Q&A. I don't know, Jocelyn, if you want to you respond to Dr. Olaruwanju, if you want to add anything, or I do have a question for the entire panel. I've noticed that it's important to align with national priorities, and all panelists have made it clear that national plan and the evaluation system have to be very aligned with that. and respond to the national need. However, how important or what are the requirements to make sure that we in developing, sustaining a national evaluation system, each of you or each of your country ensure that you use national capacities and capabilities that are available in the country. So instead of hiring international consultant or external firm, you focus. Do you have any requirement in your procurement and your purchasing? Do you have any preference system? How do you make sure that you engage with your national capacities, because I believe in each of the country they are strong and they are available. Over. I don't know who want to come in on this one. I was picking up on Dr. Lawal as he said that we want firm from UK and from USA, but I know there's a lot of capacities in Nigeria, and they can do that inside for country-led evaluation or nationally led evaluation system.
Yeah,
Anyone?
well, the issue is in the selection process. Usually, whenever every process has its own course. Usually, when you are working closely with partners and they are funding a process. So part of their requirement is when they fund the seal and research and evaluation with international competitive bid. And I think that's exactly what. So the challenge is not really because there is no capacity within the country, but it's with the bidding process. And as you are aware, that you're working with development partners in terms of their selection process is very rigorous. And often, you find challenges, especially in local consultants. So this is exactly what happened. But part of the condition we made is to ensure that the international consultants worked closely with some local partners, so that there can be a balance and also capacity building. That's what happened. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Zakari. Anyone want to come in?
Maybe very quickly, I'll mention that in our case, we did have also an international consultant at the beginning of the process, trying to understand like the key points that we need to address if we wanted to do a very rigorous SDG evaluation. However, I think it's important to say that we did had some very good insights from the previous evaluation that we already performed. So it was pretty much learning by doing. Some of the people in there did not know anything regarding evaluation. Some of us know about evaluation, but have little experience with the SDG approach. So having this person getting some insights, giving us some key points that we need to address throughout the evaluation was very useful. But I think that the knowledge that we already have, it was important because it was the way that we can make the changes, try to understand and try to combine the new information with the old information and trying to apply it to this new evaluation. So I think it was pretty much learning by doing and using the resources that we already have in the unit. It was two person from our unit involved. It was another person from the international cooperation, but who works very close with us, who knows how the process is done in Costa Rica. So it was good because it was a lot of people learning at the same time. I mean, there is the guideline, but none. There was some information that it was not in the guideline that we have to learn and by ourselves.
Thank you. Anyone else want to add any thought? So that's good. I think let me check if there's any other questions. So I think you do ask your question. I see that some the guideline are posed by in the Q&A, and we're gonna have there's a link as well where this webinar now will be posted as well, so the recording will be available. So anyone before we close want to share what is the number one lesson learned and advice they can give to each other about sustaining the journey of building national evaluation system and being innovative in doing so. So what is the lesson learned you want to give to each other, given the diversity of the country that we have here? We heard partnership, we heard alignment with national system, we heard capacities. So what are the number one, if you have to advise each other? Over.
Well, I can go first.
Yeah.
And I think that something that I take from this evaluation is how to identify. This is not something new, but it is important to identify since the beginning which one will be the use of an SDG evaluation. What is going to, how this evaluation, this specific evaluation is going to be used in the future. And it helped us a lot to identify since the beginning that we need to do another national strategy on biodiversity. So working on that matter, we identify, okay, if that is the final purpose, we need to identify then which one are the gaps regarding the SDGs, which one are the things that we did not think of during this strategy that we need to think of in the future. And I think this gives us some very good perspective on how the recommendations are going to be used, how the recommendation needed to be built in order to be used for this purpose. So for us, it was making sure that you have the use of the evaluation identified since the beginning of the process.
Okay.
Well,
Nigeria?
well, for me, I think one important element to always have at the back of our mind is that evaluation capacity building is really a journey. It takes time. Because evaluation, is a very evaluation is a dynamic field. With so many innovative tools, and approaches. So it really takes time, to build such kind of capacity, and what is needed, is collaboration and partnership. Because evaluation is a global product, and you want, produce a product, that is watertight, a product that, can be very usable, in terms of empirically, it's a very solid evidence. So it requires, a very strong capacity, but it takes time, to do such kind of business.
Thank you. Anyone else? Ecuador, you're on mute. Yeah.
Thank you, Dennis. The recent evaluation of Ecuador's chronic childhood malnutrition policy examples are robust multi-actor alliance characterized by inclusive and horizontal collaboration, fully aligning with the principles of the 2030 agenda. It's important take the evaluation team combined international experts on the 2013 agenda with national evaluator, which is the policy at local context, conducted over 100 consultants, predominant at the local level to address area for high-level vulnerability.
Thank you, Joseline. Mr. Nashwan, you want to come in? Then after that, we can close. Let me see. Yeah.
Yeah, just one fast notice about building capacities regarding the enhancing the evaluation of SDGs in countries like Yemen, which is still ongoing conflict. Maybe we are still in the beginning. We just doing our best in terms of voluntary national efforts to enhance the professionalism of evaluation, but more partnership with the active agencies is needed in the meantime. So to ensuring that no one to left behind, even if in conflict areas. So more partnership and support still required, and sharing experience is one of the keys. So this is from my perspective. Thanks. Over to you.
Thank you. Thank you. I've seen you. I invite you to look at some of the comments and questions. I think that we can conclude there. I think I'm very happy with the what I've earned, and I want to thank every panelist for their participation and each participant for joining us. I think we learned from the rich experience of Costa Rica, Ecuador, Yemen, and Nigeria that partnership is important, alignment with SDGs, building capacities, and ensuring that the time that it takes, appreciating the time that it takes to build national evaluation system and to use and to learn. It's important as well. So I've seen a lot of, and I've heard a lot of lessons learned. So I wish to thank you all. More importantly, as well, I need to reflect on that in the future. Maybe we can appreciate how evaluation system contribute to improving trust toward national public institution. There's an erosion of trust across government in the world. If you look at the data, our population sometimes have less trust toward our government, and evaluation is able to bridge that gap by sharing and providing into account what we do, what government does, and how we can restore public trust toward public governance. So I do believe that national evaluation system are a key for that. So thank you, everybody. I wish you all the best and I appreciate your participation. Thank you for the participant. All the best.